All right. So CEO of Audia, we got here Amit, and he's the Palantir expert on YouTube. And I wanted to ask him some questions about Palantir. How would you describe what Palantir does?
So I think Palantir gets an overly complicated rap for some good reasons. They're not the best at communicating what they do, but at the end of the day, they help an organization make better data-driven decisions. So if you think about where the world's going in the next 10 years, every government, non-governmental organization, profits, nonprofits, companies, they're all going to need the ability to take all the data they get from accounting, from sales, from marketing, from supply chains, logistics, put it all together in one place and figure out what to do with that data. The next 10 years is not about how much data you have, it's about what do you do with all the data that you're inevitably going to have. And Palantir is like a magic bullet that you put into a company via software with very advanced AI and machine learning to be able to get a company to figure out what to do to make better decisions and ultimately save more money, save time, make effective decisions.
Another question a lot of people have is: are they competing with Google, Amazon, AWS, Microsoft? Are they competing? Are they competing? Are they teaming together? Kind of what's going on there?
Yeah, so they're not directly competing with the big guys. So like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, let's look at them. They sell in their B2B business one main product, which is cloud computing. So what is cloud computing? AWS, Microsoft Azure, GCP. What it is like, so I have a startup and it's run on AWS and it's an audio startup. People upload content, people consume content. All of that data has to be stored somewhere. Netflix runs all of their content on AWS. Spotify runs on AWS. So all of these companies need a data storage center. And 10 years ago, you needed like a bunch of physical servers. That's not economical anymore. That doesn't make any sense because now it's all in the cloud. So they sell cloud computing. Palantir doesn't sell cloud computing. They're not going to help you store your data because at the end of the day, that's a commodity. It's worthless, right? It matters to the big guys because they have so much scale. But for Palantir, they want to say, okay, you have all this data. What do you do with it? So they're not in the business of helping you store your data in the cloud. They're in the business of helping you learn how to make sense of that data, which is why they work on top of AWS, Microsoft, and Google, which is kind of why they also had a collaboration with Google back in June. They work with the big guys because they don't need to compete with them for cloud compute. They compete with actually helping you interpret your data. So they're not really competitors in that sense.
In your opinion, is Palantir the most important AI software in the world?
Well, it's not my opinion. A recent study just came out. I'll give you the exact name of the study after this. That Palantir had the highest level of revenue per company for a tech company in the AI space. It was like the international Gartner study that came out. It was even ahead of Microsoft. They were at like 1.3 billion or something. So I would say it's one of the most important AI companies on the planet, primarily because the failure rate on implementing an AI ML ops into your business is higher than 85%. So people are like, oh, Palantir's been around for 20 years, they're still not profitable. Well, they spent 15 years figuring out how to build a product that actually works in the first place. And then they went public 2 years ago. Let's see if they can, scale that product over the next 5-10 years. So I think in the context of the commercial enterprise, they're one of the most powerful AI companies just in terms of the results they can generate for businesses. And second, they're playing a role right now in the Russian-Ukraine war because they have AI products that are actually able to be deployed in the governmental business. So from a defense standpoint, from a commercial standpoint, it seems like they are going to be one of the key winners, if not the biggest winner in AI.
Does Palantir become profitable in 2023?
No. So the CEO Alex Karp has said that they're likely going to be profitable in 2025. And to be honest, I don't want them to be profitable right now. And you might be thinking, like, as a shareholder, why don't you want your company to be profitable? Because they're a growth company, right? So they're sacrificing short-term profits for a long-term sustainable model of growth where after they lose the years of losing money, a lot of big profits come in. And this is no different than what Facebook did. Facebook did not monetize until they had 700 million users. So that took a good 6-7 years. But once they got all the users in one place, now it prints out $128 billion of ad revenue every single year because they built the foundation and the infrastructure. Additionally, the macro economy in 2023 is going to be horrible. So even if Palantir puts up a profit, it's not like the stock market's going to give their share price any appreciation, because if Apple's not going to go up, what makes you think Palantir is going to go up, even if they're putting up phenomenal financials? So I think over the next 2 years, if they're not profitable, they keep their heads down, they keep building out the sustainability of their moat. Then when they get to profitability by 2025 and beyond, then the market's going to recognize that, and hopefully the share price recognizes that as well.
Right. I know a lot of people are betting on those defense spending, government contracts, and that kind of brings me to my next question about government commercial contracts. Are they still kind of the big dog as far as government contract spending on defense?
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing that's important to understand about the government is that they have $800 billion a year to spend on defense. Now, not all of that goes to software, and definitely not all of that's going to Palantir. But an interesting thing happened in October. Well, first of all, two things. By the end of September, they had secured $800 million of governmental deals in 1 month, which was unheard of. Now, those are over 5 year spans, but like to get all of that confirmed in 1 month is just insane. Second is they achieved IL level 6 certification. For those that don't know what that is a very highly specialized certification given to one of three companies in the entire world to work with the DoD: Microsoft, Amazon, and little old Palantir. Microsoft and Amazon are $1 trillion companies. Palantir is a $16 billion company. So you think, like, what is a $16 billion peanut doing with these big behemoths getting the same level of security clearance to protect the national DoD, right, United States federal government's like most precious data? I think they're there because they know what the hell they're doing. And so, like, that gives me a lot of at least confidence that over the next 10 years, because of them getting that certification and being so deeply ingrained in the USG, that they're going to get a lot more contracts going forward.
Right. Hey, that sounds like a $1 trillion company, next 3 years.
Well, hopefully, let's see.
What made you get into Palantir in the first place? Like, did you start off, like, how'd you get in the stock market? How did you find Palantir?
Yeah, I got into stocks in about 2019. This was right before the crazy bull run happened. The first stock about was Neo at like $3. So I downloaded Robinhood, and Robinhood it really made the process simple and easy. That's why I've always loved Robinhood. I don't hold the stock, but I love the product, and so it made it so easy to understand what I was doing. And I didn't really get it, but I understood the concept of buying a share of a company and then I sell it for a profit, and like I got into that mindset. And by 2020, obviously, everything went up, and you start learning more. You start going on YouTube, you learning about what's in the world of stocks. And around like February 2021, I came across Palantir, and it was such an interesting name. And I looked at an interview with the CEO. I was like, this is interesting. And it's like I didn't really know that much about the tech, but like it just got my interest. It was a cool thing. It was a wacky kind of idea. And then when I started going deep into it, and I was like, holy crap, I think any company in the world could use Palantir. And it was one of those moments where it's like, how much is their market cap? How much are they worth? What is the pit? Like, and then I really started establishing a position. I originally bought 1,000 shares and just kept buying ever since. Now I'm at 2,500. And, now my conviction is deeper than ever. It's just a question of getting the macro to clear up and allowing them, giving them the grace to execute. And either they do it or they don't, but I'm not in this for a 2x return. I'm in this for a legitimate 5 to 10, maybe even 15x. But I recognize that the probability of that, it could happen, it could not happen. So, and this is where my conviction comes in, which is just like, I think I know this company better than most people on the planet. And I'm, willing to put my money where my mouth is, and we'll see if it turns out to be a good investment.
Doesn't hurt when you have like no debt too, huh?
That, yeah, 2.4 billion in cash, no debt. I mean, like a company that has a culture where every smart person on the planet wants to work for them. One of the number one companies helping Ukraine fight a war. I mean, like, there's a lot to be excited about. And either you get it or you don't. But to get it, you have to do a lot of research. And that's the same thing with Tesla, right? People in 2013 that were investing, they got it. They understood. No, like many people did not get that electric cars were going to be a thing. The people that did made a lot of money. So that's
right.
it.
Right. All right. So Peter Thiel or Thiel, I don't even know how to say his name exactly, or Alex Karp. Who's your guy? Who do you go to? I mean, I know for me, there's Elon, this and that. Peter Thiel's the one that kind of got me into Palantir. I see Alex Karp now, but are you an Alex Karp fan? Or are you just like, okay, this is my CEO? Are you a Peter Thiel fan? What is your thoughts?
I'm a fan of both, but if I had to pick, I would pick Alex Karp. I love he has a PhD in philosophy from Germany. So he's a really unique individual that understands philosophy at the intersection of technology and business. And so when he talks to me, it's like poetry, and his shareholder letters sound like poetry. A lot of people give him a lot of crap for not being as business oriented and more like he uses like highly complex philosophical German terms during earnings calls, talking to like Bank of America analysts. And people hate that about him. I love that about him because that to me points out his eccentricities at the level of he does not care what you think. He knows, like, there's very few people in the world that actually believe in themselves, much less believe in the conviction of their ideas. And they're not going to cry because a Wall Street analyst doesn't get their business in the first year of them being public. And so he doesn't change for anybody. He's stubborn. He believes in his beliefs. And I think he can execute. I really think the company's going to print $1.9 billion of revenue this year. I think he's the guy to take us to the promised land. You just got to give him time. But I like his philosophy, and I like his hair. His hair is nice.